Hello and welcome to Andrea Speaks TV. I am your host, Andrea, bringing you commentary you can use. This is episode 42. That's right, y'all. This is episode 42. And I want to come to you and I want to discuss. Well, first, let me say this. I want to say a big thank you to all of my subscribers, my supporters. Thank you all so much for tuning in, watching the videos that I upload, and also sharing. Your insight or your feedback on the video. So I want to say a big thank you. If you are not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe to my channel right here on YouTube, Andrea Speaks TV, and share the channel and the content with your family members or friends. You all know that I started the channel because at the time, when the pandemic first happened, there was so much going on, so much information being pushed out to us that it was kind of hard to, at times it was just like, okay, like what's really going on? All this information, like what do we really need to know? What's going on? What do we need to know so that we can make a plan to protect ourselves, our families, our friends? And so that's what this channel is all about. So I want to say thank you to my supporters, subscribers, as well as give a big welcome to my new subscribers. Okay, so again, y'all, this is episode 42. And this past week, we all got news that well, let me say this. I received the news just by doing research, but just in case you don't know, okay, those who know, who have been following the channel, you all know that I have been reporting on water shortages for some time now. And so now the U.S. government has declared the first ever water shortage. Okay, so according to my research, this has never happened before. And so I definitely feel like this is news that we can all use. So I want to come to you today on episode 42 and give you some details. And also, I would encourage you to give me your feedback, whether you're watching now live on YouTube, or if you're watching through our Facebook channel. You can follow us on Facebook as well as on Instagram at Andrea Speaks TV. Again, you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Andrea Speaks TV. So I want to say hello to everyone tuned in via Facebook. And also, again, I encourage you, if you find the content to be helpful, useful, please give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. Share this video with your family members or friends. And also make sure you subscribe to the channel. All right, y'all. So I'm sharing my screen. Again, we're going to talk about the U.S. government declaring the first ever water shortage. Okay. All right. So I'm sharing my screen with you. Now, in doing my research, let me say this, in doing my research, I did get my information from several sources, and I will mention those during the video. Also, because I'm sharing my screen, if for some reason you type a comment in the chat, for those who are watching live, if you type a comment and I'm not able to see it, please forgive me. When I'm sharing my screen, I don't always get to see the comments, but I will go back. If you do leave a comment, I will go back and respond after the video is over with, or when I get back to see the comments. So hello again to everyone who is tuned in. Please say hello in the chat. If you're watching live, you can also let me know where you're tuned in from. And if you're watching by replay, thank you so much for your support. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get into it. U.S. government declares the first ever water shortage. Now, I've also shared that, this is something that we all need to know about regardless of where we live. You all know that I have been talking about the water shortages that have been happening in the Western United States, particularly in the California area, Nevada, even, parts of Arizona. And so I want to give you some more information regarding that. Okay. All right, y'all. Now, the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation. All right, you all should be able to see my screen. The U.S. Bureau of Reclamation announces 2022 operating conditions for Lake Powell and Lake Mead. All right, it also reported that there was a historic drought impacting the entire Colorado River basin. Now, this information, based on my research, was released on August 16th, 2021. All right, so I want to give you some information. Now, the first thing that I said, y'all, was okay, what is the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation? I didn't recall ever, knowing about this organization. So you all know I had to do my research. And this actually comes from the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation website, which is actually a government agency. And so let me give you some background on the agency before I get into the water shortage declaration that was made. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go to the next slide. Now, again, this information is on their website, and it is the About Us fact sheet. Okay. Now, the Bureau of Reclamation, what exactly do they do? According to their website, the Bureau of Reclamation manages, develops, and protects water and related resources in an environmentally and economically sound manner in the interest of the American people. Listen to it. Listen to what it's saying, y'all. It's also on the screen. I'm just going to highlight a few points. Again, I'll go back. Well, what I'll do is after the video, I'll go back and put the direct link to the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation website, and also a link to the About Us fact sheet page, as well as a link to the declaration, so you can see exactly what they're saying. Now, it is very detailed, and so I do encourage you to read it so you can see exactly what's going on. Okay. All right. So again, the Bureau of Reclamation manages, develops, and protects protects water and related resources in an environmentally and economically sound manner in the interest of the American public. Okay. It says it's also the nation's largest wholesale water supplier. I didn't know that. Operating 338 reservoirs with a total storage capacity of 140 million acre feet, which is, it says in parentheses, an acre foot, 325,851 gallons of water, supplies enough water for a family of 4 for 1 year. That's a lot of water, y'all. Okay. Let's see, it says is the second largest producer of hydropower, talking about the Bureau of Reclamation in the United States, and operates 53 hydroelectric power plants that annually produced on average 40 billion kilowatt hours for the last 10 years. Okay. Let's see. Now, it also says just some of the information I'm sharing. I'm not reading everything, just kind of highlighting some different points that I see. Does say the Bureau of Reclamation priorities are to ensure the continued delivery of water and power benefits in conformity with contracts, statutes, and agreements, operate and maintain projects in a safe and reliable manner, protecting the health and safety of the public and reclamation employees, and improve financial accountability and transparency to our contractors, and honor state water rights, interstate compacts, contracts with reclamation users, further the Secretary of the Interior's Indian Trust responsibilities, and comply with its environmental statute. So, just to kind of give you a background on the Bureau of Reclamation. All right, so let me go to the next slide. Now, the Bureau of Reclamation, all right, they released a press release, and I'm not going to read the entire press release, but I do want to highlight some of the information that was said. Okay, very important that I think we all should know about. Now, in the first ever water shortage declaration, these were some of the things that the Bureau of Reclamation said. Again, this information does come from their website, and at the end of the video, I'll go and I'll post a link in the comments so that you can go and read this information for yourself. All right. So according to the Bureau of Reclamation, given ongoing historic drought and low runoff conditions in the Colorado River Basin, downstream releases from Glen Canyon Dam and Hoover Dam will be reduced in 2022 due to declining reservoir levels. Okay, so here they're talking about what changes are going to be coming next year due to what they claim is a historic drought and low runoff conditions. All right. Now it says in the lower basin, the reductions represent the first shortage. Okay, now that's in quotation marks, declaration demonstrating the severity of the drought in low reservoir conditions. All right. Now, Here's a quote within the press release, and it says, like much of the West and across our connected basins, the Colorado River is facing unprecedented and accelerating challenges. Now, this was said by, and it's in right here on the screen in bold. It was said by Assistant Secretary for Water and Science, Tanya Trujillo. I hope I pronounced that correct. If I didn't, I apologize. Now, this person also went on to say the only way to address, now, I want y'all to pay attention and listen to what's being said. Listen to, some of the key terms here that they're saying, okay? Historic drought, low runoff conditions. Now, the Assistant Secretary for Water and Science was also quoted as saying, the only way to address these challenges and climate change is to utilize the best available science and to work cooperatively across the landscapes and communities that rely on the Colorado River. Now, that is precisely the focus of the White House Interagency Drought Working Group, a multi-agency partnership created to collaborate with states. Now, collaborate with states, tribes, farmers, and communities impacted by drought and climate change. Okay, that's another key term, y'all, climate change, to build and enhance regional resilience. Now, one thing I want to stop before I continue. You all know that I have been reporting on different topics, whether it's food shortages, water shortages, all kind of shortages, different things that I've reported, different topics that I've reported on in the channel, Andrea Speaks TV, right here on YouTube. And one common factor, especially talking about water shortages, one common factor that I keep seeing over and over, even talking about severe weather, many states, many cities, many countries are right now, even to this day, they're experiencing weather events, unusual weather patterns like never before. And as I'm doing my research, preparing, to report this information to you all, one common factor that I'm constantly seeing is the term climate change being mentioned. So even with this drought situation going on, this emergency, the first ever water shortage declaration, here again, we see climate change being mentioned once again. And I want you all to pay attention to that. Keep that in mind. I think that's definitely something to be concerned about. Okay. So they're saying that they're going to be partnering and collaborating with states, tribes, farmers, and communities impacted by drought and climate change to build and enhance regional resilience. Okay. Now, also it says, and I quote, today's announcement of a level 1 shortage condition at Lake Mead underscores the value of the collaborative agreements we have in place in the 7 basin states, tribes, water users, and Mexico in the management of water in the Colorado River Basin. And that was said by the Reclamation Deputy Commissioner Camille Tauton. While these agreements, it says, while these agreements, and I quote, while these agreements and actions have reduced the risk, we have not eliminated the potential for continued decline of these critically important reservoirs. Reclamation is committed to working with all of our partners in the basin and with Mexico in continuing to implement these agreements and the ongoing work ahead. All right, so they're basically saying that it's a joint effort, that they're gonna, they're claiming that they're gonna work together with the different states, tribes, and also the country of Mexico. Okay. All right. So I want to read some information from from MSN, and then I also have some pictures to show you as well. Okay. Just a minute, y'all. Let me see. All right. So before I go over the picture, let me read to you some information. This comes from MSN as well as The Hill. And it says, federal government announces first ever water shortage in Lake Mead and the Colorado River. Now, the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation as I just shared, did announce the first shortage declaration for Lake Mead and the lower Colorado River Basin in its history, triggering cuts to individual states' water allocations beginning in January, and this will be January 2022. Okay, so according to my research, there are going to be some big, this is what, August, almost the end of August now. So August, let's see, September, October, November, December. So in about 4 going on 5 months, we're going to see, some major changes taking place, specifically in these areas where the shortage seems to be the target, what I would call the target area. Okay. So again, there are going to be cuts to individual states' water allocations beginning in January. Okay. Now, I went ahead and I read some of the information from the Bureau of Reclamation that's also mentioned in the article. And I want to also talk about, and I'm going to go into detail, well, actually some detail. I'm also going to go back and share the link to the article so you can read it more in detail. But it says Lake Mead will operate under shortage status for the entirety of the calendar year 2022. That's next year. And it says under the 2007 Colorado River interim. Let's see. I think that part may have gotten cut off. I apologize. Okay. So Lake Mead will operate under shortage status, it says, for the entirety of calendar year 2022. Now, it says in June, water levels in Lake Mead reached an all-time low of 1,071.56 feet above sea level, or just 37% full. Now, the Southwest has recently seen its worst drought in 2 decades, y'all, drastically reducing snowpack and thus the river's flow. Okay. All right. So that was some information from MSN and The Hill. And I also have another article, and this comes from Fox 29 News. Fox 29 News, again, on the 16th, which was just recently, says the U.S. officials, or 16th was last Monday, rather. U.S. officials on Monday declared the first ever water shortage from a river that serves, listen to this, y'all, 40 million people in the West, triggering cuts to some Arizona farmers next year amid a gripping drought. Now, this information comes from, as I said, Fox 29 News, and the title of the article is U.S. declares first federal water shortage in Colorado River and Lake Mead. So in one of my most recent videos, you all know that I talked about how with the droughts and the water shortages and the wildfires in California, how farmers were impacted, and how in turn, even though we're not in California, well, I'm not in California, even though you may be in a different state like myself, that still may impact us. So if you haven't seen the video already, I can't think of right offhand what episode it was, but I titled it Crisis in California. I talked about the wildfires, the droughts, also the threat to, farmers, because what I learned based on research and what I shared with you all is that California is a major producer of food, not only to the United States, but also to other parts of the world. And so if all of these things are going on, again, I hear that, a lot of these unusual weather events, natural disasters are being attributed to climate change. So if all of these things are going on and California is a major producer of food, then if the farmers don't have the water to irrigate their crops and harvest their crops, then, not only is that going to affect them and their families because that's how they make a living, but what about the rest of us who depend on the food to be there, in the stores, the farmer markets, where we get the food from? Either we're not going to see it, either it's going to be no supply, very limited or no supply, or if there is a supply, of course, it's going to be a higher demand. And what's that going to do? If there's not enough supply, but a high demand, that's going to drive up prices. So I feel like just based on my research that we all, again, no matter if we live in California, across the United States, whether we're on the East Coast, West Coast, North, South, we're going to be impacted by this. Either again, we're going to see food shortages, more food shortages, or we're going to see a drastic increase in the price of food. Okay, so those are some things that I want us to keep in mind as we're thinking about the future, looking ahead, and planning and preparing for what's to come. Again, this information, I'm not sharing this to scare you and get you in a panic. That's not the goal and the purpose. But my purpose is I want you to be informed, because I do know that, there's lots of other news going on, and, this may not be popular news or front page news, but it's still something that I feel like we all should we should know about, so that we can make a plan to protect ourselves, protect our family, our loved ones, our friends. We need food to survive, y'all. We need water to survive. So why would we not need to know about exactly what's going on? Okay. All right. Again, the information coming from Fox 29 News. Water levels at the largest reservoir on the Colorado River, Lake Mead, have fallen to record lows. All right. Along its perimeter, a white bathtub ring of mineral outlines where the high water line once stood, underscoring the acute water challenges for a region facing a growing population and a drought that is being worsened by hotter, drier weather brought on by what? What y'all think I'm about to say, y'all? Climate change. Okay, so again, every time it seems like, I won't say every time, but it seems like the past few times where I talked about natural disasters, unusual weather patterns, changes in weather, it was always a mention of climate change in my research. Okay, thank you so much to those who are up, tune in, watching. I appreciate your support. Please say hello. Let me know that you're tuned in. I'm in the Eastern time zone, and so where I am, it's about 12:45. I had to drink some water, y'all. And so I thank you all so, so much for your support. Okay. Again, it's saying that water challenges for a region facing a growing population and a drought that is being worsened by hotter, drier weather brought on by climate change. Okay. And I'm going to be, I've been doing some research because I was concerned. I was concerned why I was concerned about why there was such a concern regarding climate change. And so I do know that there are people, one of the people, it seems, just based on my research, one of the people that it seemed like, was really at the forefront talking about climate change is Bill Gates. We know Bill Gates, famously being one of the founders, if not the founder of Microsoft. And so it really seems like, he has really taken a position to be at the forefront of climate change. And I bought his one of his recent books where he talks about climate change. And I say, you know what, I want to sit down and do some research, figure out really what's going on. Okay. And on top of that, another question that I have, and let me know your thoughts on this as well. We have people such as Elon Musk and even Jeff Bezos, all of these wealthy, established, businessmen. I don't know their complete background. I don't know if they have a background in space and aeronautics, but to me, it's very concerning. Why are these people going to space, and why is there such a why is there such popularity? I guess you say popularity among those who some would say would be considered in an elite group. Why are they going to space? What are they doing up there? And at the same time, here we are having some parts of the country, some parts of the world, at the same time when we're hearing that they're going to space, or months after going to space, around the same time, we're having these unusual weather events. Now, I'm not saying that they're going up there playing with the weather, or putting something in the atmosphere, but I think that it's very concerning. It's very alarming how all of a sudden that different parts of the world are having weather patterns like they've never seen before. I'm going to be doing a video about this, but there's one part of the world where, based on my research, if I remember correctly, there's one part of the world, and this was just recently in the news, y'all. They're saying that it had never rained there before. I want to say, was it Greenland? Hold on, y'all. I don't want to just mention it and not have the right information. Can someone tell me where was that at? Does anyone know in the chat exactly what I'm talking about? But there was, let me see if I can research it real quick, y'all. Hold on. I got to find this out. But there was somewhere in the world where it just rained, and they were saying in the article that it had never rained there before. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. But I said I'm going to bring that to you all. I will look it up on my cell phone, but my cell phone just, the battery died right before I went live. Let me see if I can find it. I tried to turn on my phone, but it went right off. Let me see if I can find it. I think it was in Greenland. Okay, so this was 3 days ago. And not to get off topic, but this was on CNN. It said rain fell at summit of Greenland for the first time on record. Hold on just a minute, y'all. Yeah, so let me see if I can share this. Hold on just a minute, y'all. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for just a moment. And I'm gonna see if I can share my screen just to show you all how climate change, everything, I won't say everything, but a lot of unusual weather events are being attributed to climate change, even some natural disasters. So let me see if I can share my screen. All right, so I just looked this up quickly on CNN. I think it's loading. Let me see if I need to scroll down or scroll up. Okay, I apologize that only part of the page is showing. I'm not why when I scroll up. I don't know, it could be, I'm not sure why it's not showing the full page like it should, but as you can see, it says rain fell. Oh, hold on, y'all. Okay. As you can see, it says rain fell at the normally snowy summit of Greenland for the first time on record. So according to this article, this again comes from CNN. It says that, it sounds like never before had rain fallen on in this particular area. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen because other things are putting up and I'm not exactly sure why, and I don't want to mess up the live stream. Okay, but you all can see that again, climate change. There are things that are happening in different parts of the world like never before, according to the articles. And again, it's being attributed to climate change. Okay. All right, so let's continue. So on the screen, I have a picture. This comes from the Weather Channel, and it says, for the first time ever, the federal government has declared a water shortage on the Colorado River. All right, and it says the first cuts from the Colorado River as the drought worsens. All right, here's another picture. This was a sign. Let me see if I can see where it is. It says levels 25%, days water left. I may have cut off part of it. I'm not sure, but it says that means that Western states will see mandatory water cuts starting January 1st, 2022, as I shared in the article. All right, this information came from The Guardian. From The Guardian, it says the biggest U.S. reservoir declares a water shortage, facing water cuts across what does that say? Across the West, okay? Officials issue first ever declaration of Tier 1 shortage at Lake Mead as it falls to the lowest level since its creation. Now, in the article that I was just reading, the article did mention, it says water levels at the largest reservoir on the Colorado River, Lake Mead, which you see in this picture, have fallen to record lows. Now, I just read this, but it says along its perimeter, a white bathtub ring. So do you all see right here? You can see like a white ring or white line up against this. I don't know if these are mountains or just rocks. But do you all see the white ring there? Okay, that's what they're talking about. So it's a white bathtub ring, okay, in quotation marks. It's a white bathtub ring of minerals that outline where the high water line once stood. So according to the article, they're saying that at one time the water was up here. So you can see, that helps us get a kind of a visual to see just how high the water levels once stood. And so, they're saying that because of the drought conditions and other factors, that the water levels have drastically decreased over a period of time. Okay. All right. Another interesting article that I saw, this comes from National Geographic, and the question asks, why is America running out of water? Decreasing precipitation and rising populations could bring a perfect storm of water shortages for the United States. Where is our water going? All right. Now, I also thought this was an interesting piece of information, and I want to take a minute to read. This again comes from National Geographic. And it says, along with decreasing rainfall comes rising temperatures. By 2050, the U.S. could be as much as 5.7 degrees Fahrenheit warmer, and extreme weather events such as heat waves and drought could be more intense and occur more frequently. As temperatures warm and evaporation increases, further decreasing water in lakes, reservoirs, and rivers. For example, it says every degree of warming in the Salt Lake City region could drop the annual water flow of surrounding streams by as much as 6.5%. For cities in the western U.S. that rely on cool temperatures to generate snow and rain, warmer weather is bad news. Now, the article also goes on to say that as the U.S. water supply decreases, demand is set to increase. Okay, that's the nature of supply and demand. So if the supply decreases and there is still some supply left, demand is set to increase as well as prices increase. Okay. All right. So let me know your thoughts in the chat or in the comments if you're watching by replay. What are your thoughts on the U.S. government stepping in and declaring the first ever water shortage? All right. Let me know your thoughts in the chat. Now, the article says as the U.S. water supply decreases, demand is set to increase. On average, each American uses 80 to 100 gallons of water every day, with the nation's estimated total daily usage topping 345 billion gallons, y'all. Enough to sink the state of Rhode Island under a foot of water, the article says. Now, by the year 2100, the U.S. population will have increased by nearly 200 million, with a total population of some 514 million people. Now, the article also says that given that we use water for everything, the simple math is that more people mean more water stress across the country. All right. I thought that was very important to note as well. So basically, it sounds like they're saying that over time that the U.S. population will be increasing or is increasing. And the underlying message that I get from this is that they're saying that there will be so many people on the planet that it's going to create an even more demand for water. And that's also going to be put more what they term water stress across the country. So going back to when I was talking about climate change, there are people like Bill Gates, who has expressed. He did a video. He did a video about 10 years ago, I believe, about 10 years ago, and he talked about. He actually talked about climate change, and he talked about how one of the reasons for climate change, one of them was population, that there were simply so many people on the planet, and it was projected, just as this article said, that the population would increase. So keep that in mind, because I will be speaking about that as well. Okay, doing some more research on that as well. Hold on just a minute, y'all. Let me see. I want to make sure I have the correct name for that video. It was a TED Talks video. Hold on just a second. Let me see if I have it. Innovating to Zero. Okay, so if you want to know more about what I'm talking about, and you say, okay, well, what is that video? You said Bill Gates did a video. All you have to do is just search YouTube, Bill Gates. The title of the video is Innovating to Zero. I've spoken about it before here on the channel, but make sure you watch that video. He talks about several different things. Even though he made the video 10 years ago, it's very hello to everyone tuned in. Thank you all so much for your support. I appreciate you all. So make sure that you watch that video. The video is called Innovating to Zero. He talks about, even like I said, even though he made this video, let me see when he made it, 11 years ago. Okay, I stand corrected. He made the video 11 years ago. A lot of what he talks about in that video. Now, remember, 11 years ago, he made the video, but a lot of things that he talks about back then, we see it happening now. So make sure you check out that video. But going back to what I was saying, again, from what I get, the underlying message that I get from this National Geographic article is that, the population is increasing even today, and it's projected to increase even more. And so basically what I get that they're saying is that, hello to everyone tuned in. Thank you all so much for your support of the channel. I appreciate you all so much. What I get from what the article is saying is that, hey, water shortages, we're dealing with water shortages. It's only going to get worse because there's simply going to be too many people on the planet. And so that's going to put more stress on the water. So I would like to know your thoughts. Do you think that the water shortages that we're seeing, do you think that now there are some people who make the argument that these are man-made, man-created issues, that, we're really not dealing with water shortages. Some people argue that, that they, how we always say that they, but who is they? Some people say that they are playing with our water supply, and we in fact do have enough water, but there's always been a plan. These are all allegations. Some people are saying that, based on my research, there are people who feel like, we do have water. There's enough water. However, that certain people who are able to control the water supply are doing they're doing that, and it's all a part of the plan that, there's really not a water shortage. And then there are some people that, argue that yes, it's due to climate change and other environmental issues. So I would like to know your thoughts. Are you seeing water shortages in your area? How do you feel about everything that's going on? Okay. And as I said, even though we primarily see this happening in the Western United States, I'm on the East Coast, but even though we primarily see these events happening on the West Coast, I think that is a situation that we all need to pay attention to, no matter where we are. And I think that here's where we need to start making a plan before, because y'all, this thing could come, and just be extremely devastating if you're not prepared. So if it's not in your area yet, if you're not seeing water shortages in your area, count that a blessing, and just know that you still need to make a plan to prepare. so that you and your family can have water. Y'all, we need water to survive. What is it? I think that you can go, is it 3 days, y'all? 3 days. Someone let me know in the chat. Is it 3 days you can survive without water? So with that being said, water is essential to human life. So why would you not want to make sure you have enough water to meet your daily needs? So again, this is not information to scare you or cause you to be in a panic. But what I do want you to do is take the information and say, you know what, this is what's going on. Let me make sure that let me make sure that we're straight. So in the event that we do have water shortages in our area, we're prepared, we can sustain. Okay, how that sound, y'all? That sounds like some good information to share. All right, so I want to continue. Yes, yes. Someone said, shocking. I drink water every single day. I'm drinking water right now. I'm drinking water right now during this live. And, in my particular area, I wouldn't say that we're seeing water shortages now. I do see water now. There were some times that you all know during the pandemic, there were times when water was pretty low on the shelves. And so, where I primarily shop at, which is the local farmers market, they do, pretty much keep it stocked with water. And so, what my husband said, that we're going to do, what we decided was just to, as we, make our weekly trips to the farmers market, just pick up some water, pick up some cases of water, and just have some water on hand. That way, if the news does say, hey, there are water shortages coming, we won't necessarily be trying to scramble to get water at the same time as everyone else. So, again, that's just a part of our plan, what we're doing. You and your family can make your own plan. I can't tell you what to do. I just share the information. I can make suggestions and recommendations, give you some, points to think about. But ultimately, it's up to you to make a plan to do what's best for your family. So I wouldn't say that necessarily in my area where I am on the East Coast, we don't necessarily, I wouldn't say that, I'll say at least where I shop right now, they're keeping it pretty much stocked full of water. But like I said, y'all, if water shortage, they happen in one area, it'll be a trickle down effect. We could start seeing it in other areas. So even though right now, and I pray that it doesn't happen, I pray that the people who are experiencing water shortages, that they're able to get the help they need, to get the resources that they need to sustain and take care of themselves and their families. But I would just say that while you still have time, while you see water in your area, go ahead and, make a plan to have water stored at your home. And, just research. You can research, look up different ways that you can store water, and, things like that. So, and also this is another point I was going to make, that, the price of water could increase. If there's a water shortage, if there's less supply of water than the demand, then of course what's going to happen? The price of water is going to increase. So in my area, and again, I count this as a blessing. Right now, we're not seeing, based on where we shop at, we're not seeing water shortages. We haven't seen the price of water increase, but my family and I, we do have a plan to go ahead and prepare and have water in the event that water shortages, water price increases do hit our area. Okay. All right. So let me continue on. We're talking about the U.S. Declaring the first ever water shortage. Again, this has never happened according to research. And so this is something that's very concerning. All right. This is another image that I obtained from the Weather Channel. And it says the cuts come as reservoirs in the Colorado River Basin dropped to historic lows amid a decades-long drought. Okay. Now, again, I got this from the Weather Channel. I just took a little snapshot of the screen, but this was actually a video that kind of went through each of the slides that I'm sharing. All right. So again, the cuts come as reservoirs in the Colorado River Basin dropped to historic lows amid a decades-long drought. All right. And let me know in your area. Again, now where I am, I don't always watch the news every day. I try to catch, I mostly, when I do watch the news, I'm trying to find out, okay, what's going on in the world? What's not the front page news story? Like, what is it that's going on that we need to know about that we're not being told, that's not on the front page of the news? That's not being reported about. So a lot of times when I do go and I do my research, I'm looking for the stories that are not necessarily popular news, but that are happening and that are very real. So um, with that being said, water shortages is one of them. So I would like to know, let me know in the chat whether you're watching now live, or if you're watching by replay. Let me know in the comments. I really want to know. I want your opinion, your insight. In your area, are they talking about water shortages? I would like to know that as well. Okay. All right. Someone said, I'm in Atlanta, haven't heard of water shortages here. Exactly. I don't see, I don't see that being talked about, pretty much anywhere. Um, I did finally start to see it. When I did finally start to see it become front page news or headline news is when the U.S. government stepped in and said, wait a minute, we're declaring the first ever water shortage. But other than that, I haven't seen people talk about this necessarily. I'll just say in popular news, but it is very much real and it's very much going on. Okay. Why do you think that that's the case? Why do you think that this is going on and it's a real situation? Why do you think it's not being talked about? All right. Let me know your thoughts about that as well. Okay, moving on to the next picture. It says Lake Mead and Lake Powell have lost 50% of their capacity in just 5 years. Now, I don't know if that is, 50%, that's half. So it says in just 5 years, Lake Mead and Lake Powell have lost 50% of their capacity. I would say that's a drastic decrease, a very alarming decrease. Now, I don't know how much it loses each year. I don't know the average, but half of its capacity in 5 years, to me, that's pretty concerning. All right. And that may be the last picture. Let me see what else I have. All right. Now, it says the Colorado River supplies water to some 40 million people, y'all, across the West. So, that's 40 million people who stand to have their water supply affected by these cuts, the cuts in the water allocation that is to come starting January 2022. Okay. All right. So again, let me see if I have another picture that I want to show you all. So I like to include pictures because, it's one thing to hear about it, to hear me read it, but I actually want you all to see it so that you know exactly what's going on. Okay. Arizona will take the biggest hit with an 18% reduction in its supply. Now, again, the article is saying that these changes, these cuts to water allocation will happen starting in January 2022, which is close to a little over 4 months away, right? And so Arizona is saying will take the biggest hit with an 18% reduction in its supply. Okay. I want to refer back to the article that I'm reading from Fox 29. Okay, that was the last image. So let me go back to the article from Fox 29. Okay. All right. Now it says the article, according to Fox 29 News says states, cities, farmers, and others have diversified their water sources over the years, helping soften the blow of the upcoming cuts. Now, federal officials, according to the article, said Monday's declaration makes clear that conditions have intensified faster than scientists predicted in 2019, when some states in the Colorado River Basin agreed to give up shares of water to maintain levels at Lake Mead. Now, this is a quote. Let's see. The announcement today is a recognition that the hydrology that was planned for years ago, but we hope we would never see, is here. Okay, and that was a statement by the Bureau of Reclamation Commissioner Camille Talton. I read a statement from her earlier. So basically, this person is saying, the Bureau of Reclamation Commissioner is saying that um, although these events or situations were planned for years ago, even though they hope to never see them, these same situations and events are happening right now. Okay, isn't that something, y'all? Okay. All right. It goes on to talk about water levels at Lake Mead and Lake Powell. The river's two largest reservoirs have been falling for years and faster than experts predicted. I wonder why that's the case, y'all. Faster than what they predicted. Scorching temperatures and less melting snow in the spring have reduced the amount of water flowing from the Rocky Mountains, where the river originates, before it snakes 1,450 miles southwest into the Gulf of California. Someone was quoted saying, "We're at a moment where we're reckoning with how we can continue to flourish with less water, and it's very painful." Okay, that was said by Sarah Porter, who is the director of a Center for Water Policy at Arizona State University. All right. Now, how is the river water shared? Water stored in Lake Mead and Lake Powell is divvied up through legal agreements among the 7 Colorado River Basin states, the federal government, Mexico, and others. The agreement determines how much water each gets. Again, these are the water allocations when cuts are triggered in the order in which the parties have to sacrifice some of their supply. So again, as you all can see, I also shared it on the screen. It says that Arizona will take the biggest hit with an 18% reduction in its supply. And I know I've never been, but I know that Arizona is, they have several cities that are tourist attractions. And so, quite naturally, if Arizona is taking the biggest hit with an 18% reduction in its supply, I would imagine that would affect, some of the vacations and, recreation, different outdoor events, just overall travel, travel and entertainment to that particular state. So, I would imagine that the travel industry as well as the entertainment industry in the state of Arizona would be affected as well. Okay. All right. A couple of other things I wanted to share. Cuts for 2022 are triggered when predicted water levels fall below a certain threshold. It mentions 1,075 feet above sea level or 40% capacity. Now, hydrologists predict that by January 2022, the reservoir will drop to 1,066 feet. Okay. It says eventually some city and industrial water users could also be affected. Which states will be affected by the cuts? I talked about Arizona being the hardest hit and losing 18% of its share from the river next year, or that's the same as 512,000 acre feet of water. That's around 8% of the state's total water use. Okay, so you can imagine that that's going to be a drastic adjustment for them. Okay. It says an acre foot is enough water to supply 1 to 2 households a year. All right. Let me see. I did highlight some other points from the article that I want to share with you. All right. Please give this video a thumbs up if you find the information to be helpful. And also, please make sure you share this information with your family members or friends. Again, it doesn't matter if you live in California or you live in a different state. This is information that we all need to know about, y'all. Okay. Nevada will lose about 7% of its allocation, or 21,000 acre feet of water, but it will not feel the shortage, mainly because of conservation efforts. California, now I thought this was interesting, y'all. You all know that I have been reporting here on the channel on California. It says California is spared from immediate cuts because it has more senior water rights than Arizona and Nevada. Okay. So I thought that was pretty interesting as well. Okay. All right. Thank you all so much. If you have not already subscribed to the channel, I would like to give you a moment to hit the subscribe button. and also the notification bell so that when I do go live or when I do upload new content, you will be notified and you'll be able to stay connected. All right. Also, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you find this information to be helpful. Okay. All right. So give me just a minute, y'all. Hold on 1 second here. All right. Just a minute. All right. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And also take a minute to like this video. Okay. All right, now the article talks about who in those states will see their water supply cut. Now, listen to this, y'all. Farmers in central Arizona, you all know I've been talking about farmers and the fact that they're also seeing their water supply being cut. Farmers in central Arizona, who are among the state's largest producers of livestock, dairy, alfalfa, wheat, and barley, will bear the brunt of the cuts. Their allocation comes from water deemed extra, and that's in quotation marks, by the agency that supplies water to much of the region, making them the first to lose it during a shortage. All right. So again, y'all, farmers are going to be affected. Farmers are going to be negatively impacted by the cuts that are to come. Okay. Now, as a result, the article says the farmers will likely need to fallow land, as many already have in recent years, because of persisting droughts, and rely even more on groundwater, switch to water efficient crops, and find other ways to use less water. How do y'all feel about that? Does more need to be done to help the farmers? Let me know your thoughts about that. Okay. So farmers, it sounds like farmers are having to fallow their land, find other ways to use less water if they still plan on, planting and harvesting their crops. Okay. Water supplies, the article mentions, have planned for the shortage declaration by diversifying and conserving their water supply, such as by storing water in underground basins. Still, the water cuts make it harder to plan for the future. Okay. And here's a quote from Chuck Callum of the Central Arizona Project. He was quoted as saying, "It's a historic moment where drought and climate change." Okay. Again, y'all, I talked about it. Keep hearing, keep mentioning climate change are out at our door. Okay. All right. Cities such as Las Vegas, Phoenix, and Tucson and Native American tribes are shielded from the first round of cuts. So, according to the article, cities such as Las Vegas, Phoenix, and Tucson and Native American tribes are shielded from the first round of cuts, but it doesn't say the second, doesn't say they're protected from the second or the third round. Okay. Now, the article ends by asking the question, can the decline of Lake Mead be reversed? Can something be done about it? What exactly can be done? Basically, the article is asking, what's happening now, can it be undone? Can it be reversed? And the article says water levels at the reservoir have been falling since 1999 due to the dry spell enveloping the West and increased water demand. All right, with weather patterns expected to worsen. Okay, listen to that, y'all. I'm going to repeat it, but I want you to think about what I just said. This is coming from the article. Okay. Water levels at the reservoir have been falling since 1999 due to the dry spell enveloping the West and increased water demand. All right. 1999 was how many years ago, y'all? 20, what? Almost 22 years ago. Is that right? I hope I'm doing my math correct, y'all. 1999. Was that about what? That was 22 years ago? Okay. So due to the dry spell enveloping the West and increased water demand, with weather patterns expected to worsen, experts say the reservoir may never be full again. Y'all think about that just a moment, y'all. that weather patterns are expected to worsen, experts say the reservoir may never be full again. How do y'all feel about that? What do y'all think about that? How is it that the weather patterns are expected to worsen? How do they know that already? And what makes them believe that, um, what makes them feel like the reservoir may never be full again? Why are the weather patterns why are they predicting that the weather patterns will continue to worsen? All right. Then the article says that though Lake Mead and Lake Powell could theoretically be refilled, planning for a hotter, drier future with less river water would be more prudent. Okay. And that was said by someone from the Arizona State University. Okay. I believe the same, let me see, last name Porter. Okay. Porter from Arizona State University. Okay, y'all. So again, I wanted to come live and give you some information about the U.S. government declaring the first ever water shortage. You all let me know your thoughts on that. What do you think is to come? Do you think this is something that is man-made, a man-made crisis? Do you think that we can attribute climate change to what's going on? What are your thoughts on that? I would be curious to know your thoughts. So I do ask that you please comment. Let me know your thoughts. And if you have some more insight to share, maybe something that I haven't reported that's actually going on in the news, please let me know your thoughts and comment as well. This is a place where I share factual information. And so any of you who are my supporters, subscribers, or if you tune in for the very first time, welcome, welcome. Please feel free to contribute information as well. I do ask that it be factual information. Or if you have insight into the situation, please share as well. Okay. All right, y'all. So that concludes my presentation for tonight on the U.S. government declaring the first ever water shortage. And I will be coming back live again, hopefully on tomorrow. When you all don't see me live, it's because I have several things that are going on. And several things that are coming, information that I'm going to be excited to share with you all. And so even recently, I did upload a video earlier today where I showed you all that let me say this before I share what I was about to say, but the things that I'm talking about now about making a plan to prepare and being prepared in the event of a natural disaster, some type of, crisis, the same information that I'm sharing with you all, I'm taking the information that my husband shares with me, and I'm putting it into action, getting prepared. So one of the things that I've been talking about, especially concerning food shortages, is the need to, if you haven't already, to grow your own food. And so I've been sharing right here on the channel pictures from my garden. And so that's what I've been busy working on, y'all. So, the fall veggies, I've been getting those planted and, making sure that they're watered, and everything. It seems like the temperature where I am, the temperature has been still warm enough to where with the temperature and water, it was the right combination for me to plant. I planted, with seeds. And so I've been sharing pictures here on the channel. I did a very short video earlier today to show you all where my seeds were coming up. And I was, really, really excited about that. So again, same information I'm sharing with you all, I am putting it into practice and into action myself. One thing that I haven't done yet, I actually grew up seeing my mother and my family members canning. But one thing that I haven't done yet that I do have on my to-do list is to can some items from my garden as well as from the local farmers market. So anyone in the chat, anyone watching now live, or if you're watching by replay, anyone have experience with canning? If you all would like to share, maybe share some tips and insights on canning vegetables. So that's something that's next on my to-do list. I'm still working, some things that I'm working on in my garden. Let's see what I have been planting, y'all. In my garden, I've been planting, let's say I planted broccoli. I have some celery. I have two different varieties of kale. I have, they call it Lacento kale, or we commonly know it as dinosaur kale. I also have, I think it's called like blue curl kale or something like that. And let's see what else I planted. Swiss chard. I planted, seems like I'm missing something. I have a couple of other things. Like I already had tomatoes. I had basil. Seems like I'm missing something. Collards. I have collards as well. And I'm going to be planting some carrots and potatoes. So those are the next things that I'm going to be planting. So I'm busy, y'all. So when you don't see me on YouTube, know that I am busy behind the scenes getting some things done. Because again, the same thing that I'm sharing, same information that I'm sharing with you, my family and I, we're putting it into practice, making a plan of action. So I have that going on, and a couple other things that I'm excited to share with you all. I did also share that in one of my previous videos. I shared that I would have some merchandise available, Andrea Speaks TV, and so I'm still working on designing that. And as soon as it's available, for those who would like to support the channel by making a purchase of Andrea Speaks TV merchandise, I'll definitely post a link so that you all can do that as well. So I have my garden, busy behind the scenes with some business things going on. And then also, of course, I am a wife as well as a mother. So when you don't see me on YouTube, know that I am busy working, getting things done. But I always like to take time to come on and share information with you all so that you all are informed. Again, not to cause you to go into a panic or be nervous. But again, I want you to be informed, because I know even, the times that I do watch the news and I watch television, or, times where I may, be on social media, I see that there are so many distractions out there that a lot of times the news that is the most important and the things that we need to know about, it doesn't always make it to the forefront of the news. And so a lot of times, just from my experience, you have to really research, do your own research, and go out and see exactly what's going on and what is the news that we can use, or as I like to say, the commentary that you can use. So again, I just want to come on tonight. This video is long overdue. I had all the intentions of going live and sharing this information with you when it first came out on August 16th. That is the day, if I remember correctly, that is the day that the U.S. Government declared the first ever water shortage. And like I shared before with you all right here on the channel, you all know how I have talked about water shortages before, so this is nothing new. All right. Also, in the chat or in the comments, let me know what are some things that you and your family have been doing to prepare for food shortages, water shortages. We know that these situations are very real, and if it hasn't already come to your area, more than likely, based on the research that I've been doing, that somewhere down the line, whether it's months ahead, maybe years ahead, we don't know, that more than likely it will. We will all somehow be affected. But let me know in the chat, share what are some things that you and your family are doing to prepare and kind of stay ahead. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all so much for your support. Again, if you have not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe, hit the thumbs up button. When you do that, it helps my videos grow and more people are able to watch them and see the information and share their plans of action as well. Okay. Also, make sure you're subscribed to the channel whether you're watching via our Facebook page or on YouTube, make sure you subscribe at andreaspeakstv.com. I also have a website. So if you are in need of emergency food supplies as well as survival needs, make sure I also have a link in the description of the video. But make sure you visit my site, preparewithandrea.com. All kinds of things on the website, emergency food supply, things such as water filtration, um, different things related to survival needs and emergency food supply. So make sure you check that out as well. The link is in the description of the video. So again, I want to thank you all so much for your support. I appreciate you all for tuning in, sharing the information, and also giving your feedback, your comments. And I will be back on later on tomorrow sometime. I don't know the exact time yet. It'll probably be later on tomorrow night. Maybe not this late, but if you are subscribed to the channel, you'll get a notification when I do go live. Okay. All right, y'all. Anyone have any questions? Anyone have any questions about anything that I reported on in this live? Anyone have any questions? Anyone have any comments about anything, any information that was shared in this live? I'll give you all a moment to maybe type your comments before I hop off. Anyone have any information they would like to share or comments or general comments or questions, you can go ahead. I'll maybe give you a minute to type it. We do have some people who are watching live, so I want to give them a chance to maybe type a comment or ask a question before the live is over. And again, I want to thank you all so much for staying up late with me. I'm on the East Coast and it is 1:33 a.m. So I definitely, I am grateful for those who are up late tuning in. And I want to give you a chance to ask a question. You can type it in the chat. If you have a question or something you would like to, share related to the first ever water shortages. All right, so while y'all do that, I'm going to get some water and I'll be right back on. So just you can type your comment in the chat and I'll answer it. So give me just a minute, y'all. I'm going to get some water and I'll give you all time to type your comments. Okay. All right, y'all. So I'm going to go ahead. I don't see any comments. So if you're watching again by replay, you can just type a comment below. I do go back and I read and respond to comments. But again, I want to say thank you all so much for supporting Andrea Speaks TV. If you haven't subscribed already, please make sure you subscribe as I get information, important information. I share it with you all. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel so that you can stay connected. Also, please make sure you give me a thumbs up and that also gives me feedback. It tells me, it basically helps me to improve when you give me feedback on the video. So again, thank you all so much for staying up late, tuning in, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you all so much for supporting Andrea Speaks TV. And until next time, y'all take care. See you soon.